There's nothing better than some homemade beef stew on a cold winter's day. So here we go. We're going to make my homemade version of beef stew. Ain't nothing to it, man. Alright, so here we go. Our ingredients. We got us some sweet corn. We got us some peas and carrots. Then we got another pack of just some cut up carrots, a little bit thicker. Got me some chuck roast. Really? Hush, woman. Then we got some potatoes. Got us what, about 5 potatoes here. We got Yukon Gold potatoes. Got us 2 onions. About 5 or 6 stalks of celery. We got us some egg noodles. We got some beef broth. We got us some tomato paste. We got some Lowry seasoned salt. I got the less sodium. Gotta watch that sodium. Then I got me some rosemary and some thyme, bay leaf. Back there we got us some beef broth. This right here, I love this stuff called steak seasoning. Dale steak seasoning. Let me turn around and show you what it is. Yeah. Reduced sodium, Dale steak seasoning. Then we got us some Worcestershire sauce. I'm only gonna use a little bit of that. This is the beef broth right there we're gonna use. Alright? Hey man, get out my video. Alright, so there go our ingredients you're gonna need right there. Believe it or not, you can get all this stuff for about $20. We're gonna feed a family of 6 with this. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our roast up into about 1/2 inch to a 4-inch cubes. And then we're gonna dust it with flour. And then we're gonna add some seasoning salt. This is gonna help with the caramelization of our roast, and what it's gonna do is help thicken the sauce later on. So I got a skillet here. We got about 2 tablespoons of oil, and what I'm using is canola oil. You can use whatever oil you desire, but we want to get it nice and hot till it starts smoking like that. And then we're going to start putting our meat in there. We want to get a nice good caramelization on that thing. We want to get it nice and crispy, and this is going to help us develop a nice rich flavor. Okay, you can do it in batches or you can do it all at one time. So we want to just layer the flavors here. So once we got that browned up, we're going to add some onions and all of our chopped up seasons that we use. Our onions, our celery, our bell peppers, and our garlic. We're going to stir this in very well. We're going to get this to cook down just a little bit, approximately about 10 minutes until the seasonings, the vegetables get kind of tender. Okay, so we want to mix that thoroughly. Alright, so the next step in this process, we're going to add some Worcestershire sauce, about 2 tablespoons of this, and then we're going to add some of our Dale steak seasoning, about 2 tablespoons of that as well. These things are going to actually help us to continue to layer the flavor. It's going to give it a nice, deep, rich flavor to our beef stew. So then we're going to add some fresh cracked black pepper and a little bit of seasoning salt. You don't want to go light at this point, because we can always add salt later on to taste. We're going to mix that up and we're going to cook that down for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then we're going to add our dry seasons, our dry beef broth and our rosemary and our thyme, and then we're going to go in with some beef broth liquid. We have that 32-ounce container we're going to put in there, and we're going to start scraping up that fond that's on the bottom of that pot. That's all the good giblets and pieces on the bottom. Where we got the caramelization, we're going to bring it to a nice little simmer, over medium heat. We're going to add about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And we're going to cover that, and we're going to let that simmer for about 30 minutes because we want to get that meat nice and tender. We added a bay leaf also in that process. So now we got it here. At this point, we're going to add our potatoes and our carrots. You see our broth is nice and thick and rich. That's because we had that flour onto that chuck roast. So we're going to cover that up, and we're going to let that simmer down for about 30 minutes as well to help that meat finish tenderizing and then get those potatoes and those vegetables nice and tender. So we have it at that point now, and we're going to add in our frozen vegetables. We're going to add our sweet corn, and we're going to add our peas and carrots. You can put any vegetables you want. It's your stew, Make it however you like it. You don't like carrots, leave them out. You don't like peas, leave them out. So at this point, all we need to do is get this thing warmed up, okay? We just want to warm up these frozen vegetables. But you see how thick it is? What we want to do is loosen that up just a little bit. So we're going to add about a 1/4 cup or less of water right here, because we want to loosen it up. You can't put too much, because then you'll have soup instead of stew. So we want to keep our broth, our liquids, you know, kind of tight and kind of thick there. So now we're going to put a lid on it, let it simmer for about 10 minutes just to warm up those vegetables, and you got yourself some outstanding beef stew. Enjoy.